with the stalking, gang stalking, sabotaging, and all the rest of the stuff, and someone sabotaging my life intentionally to ruin it, while trying to apply, which I can agree with some, that I'm the one that's messed up, mental health wise or not, but they've done this since I was a child, and there has been situations basically founded or in my favor or talked about and understood. There's definitely something extra going on with my situation, basically sabotage, being targeted. That was with psychiatrists. That's also with some law enforcement, but it's been little spits and spats over the last 20 years. Um, so what I was going to do in this video is do another Columbus, Ohio situation to where I definitely say yes, I have done wrong, but that doesn't make it right for those who have done me wrong or is doing wrong, sabotaging to be able to cover their tracks and to extort me and expose me, sabotage and try to ruin me. That's including city officials, law enforcement working, community working, everything under the sun, someone intentionally ruining and sabotaging while they're trying to say you're incapacitated, you're mentally unstable, and all the other stuff. Excuse me, I've caught a cold. But I walked in and agreed a whole lot more when they was trying to say like I'm in denial, I'm this, I'm trying to get away with being unstable but being socially respected, and having proper values and respects and social works going on and stuff like that. I spilled myself back in 2011 and the beginning of 2012 in probates that I had been probated and they felt was sabotage, wrong, power, like a power control freak situation, intentionally to assault with, systematically assault, is the words the doctors came up with. That wasn't just the city, that was family members, but also others that are either threatening my family members if they don't take action, if they don't get involved. But it's a really mixed up situation of how to explain it. I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt one way, but I am the other, and that is somebody is utilizing brute force illegally and intimidating people to react out, or else you'll also have complications in life. Will ruin you, will do whatever, no matter what it is. Physical assault, systematical assault, stuff like that. So that's their whole gameplay, and when they get into it, what I want to say is it is semi-unfair, but I have to think about it. If I've done wrong, it doesn't matter. I've done wrong, no matter what it is. Vandalism, smack talking back, same vandalism back. They tore my stuff up, I tear your stuff up. Even though I've lessened a whole lot over the last quite a few years to a certain extent, but they've never lessened up. On top, giggling, taunting, that they've gotten away with the rapes, the robberies, the assaults, the system, nobody likes you. We've ruined you. We've completely ruined you. Not just only social value wise, and I always throw in, we had a talk about with county psychiatrists here in Columbus, Ohio, but because it's a county facility, state ran facility really, which is not a great facility. It's also privately owned, and that's a whole nother situation of corrupt loophole tactics being played against me. But anyhow, sorry, doctors talking. Where was I going to go with that? Doctors talking, and it was basically confirmed of all of this stuff that I'm trying to make understandings out of and all the rest of stuff. So I kind of blanked out on that because I got this cold and I went to cough. Apologize. But without that story, the unfair treatment with either false reporting or real reporting, which it's babyfied in one way and not the other. I didn't report them. Not in the ways that they're trying to sabotage me. They're playing something that was basically set up all the way back in 2000, when I was first basically messed up. They contaminated some of the smokes that I had, whatever caused me to have throat problems. And then there was contamination in the system, a sabotage situation where they falsified a potential sexual assault, and some of my family members had to do with that. Some of the reason is grudge. I accidentally, as a child, exposed some things about the family, per se, whatever it be, and it wasn't okay to expose those situations, or at least unless basically I would have to went into foster care or something to the effect. Um, and it's kind of hard to deal with that too, but it just didn't work out. By the time some of the exposure stuff happened, I was of age to be emancipated while somebody's trying to intentionally. They're running me out of, per se, the house. They're running me around telling me I need to take care of myself. But then when I go to take care of myself, they intervene that, no, you're not capable enough. And is the truth behind it? Was it that I was not? I was working a job that doesn't have much weight. Anybody can work a job. Doesn't mean that you're sane enough to take care of yourself. Everything that I did, they ridiculed. They put too much weight on and tried to ruin me, and did ruin me, even since I was a teenager. No, you're no different than anybody else. Emancipation doesn't exist. This doesn't exist. If it does, we're going to intervene. You don't need your freedom. While also enforcing, like I said, it's kind of like sabotage situation, and then covering up their tracks and belittling and exciting themselves and playing the power control freak crap and taunting, intimidating that they've gotten away basically with murder. And I'm not going to get into that literally, that's just a figure of speech. But there's city works. There are people in government official positions, people that was employed with intelligence of the United States government working. Either it be a military soldier. I'm not going to say high intelligence. I'm not going to say it wasn't higher intelligence operating their shit, but targeting me and trying to threaten me that they have more value. I don't understand this. I don't, and I agreed to a lot of it, and it was understood the reasons why I might not be able to capacitate or had been ruined to the point it's no different than abuse and assault of somebody powerfully abusing you to the point that you don't understand, you don't capacitate because you're intimidated in fear, your mind didn't work, or you don't feel that you should be able to think about it, about what's right and wrong, or the truth behind the situation, because those people are presently around you. At least if not, every day, which mine was every day, they was around enough to inflict everyday lifeful pain or ridiculement or controlment and enforcing what their point of views were. By me fighting, they tried to make it out that I'm fighting and it is disorderly or behaviorally unruly or whatever they can conjure up. And hey, if it works, it works. The point is when I go through a lot of different things like that, isn't your point, and the main point, you said you need to go take care of yourself differently than what you are. So I go to do that, and they intervene. They intervene with no matter what I do. So it doesn't make point. It's no different than you need to leave the community, get away from our people, we don't like you, and I be interstate stalked across the United States. They follow me. I'm not following them. And then if I assault, if I defend, if I become like them, not making it an excuse, but react out wrongfully, they're intelligent enough, and I catch on to it. I'm no different than they are. I can't help it. But I'll fight back, slander back, say something back. And all this ridiculement that they'll get intervention of a system. The right way to handle that is to call the police. Which there's been tons of corruption. There's been tons of contacts. There's been tons of connections no matter where I go. It's part of the sabotage, systematical, assaultive, ruining situation they love using. And like I said, when I think I'm like, this is my example, this is what I believe, I always state, remember, I'm not the one stated the word systematical assault. Those were professional psychiatrists and county doctors that came up with systematical assault. trying to understand the situation rather than me, maybe not comprehending stuff right and making believe whatever they've tried to play. Schizophrenic, you're incompetent, and some of that applies, but it's like seeing a murder and them telling you you don't have a right to say anything about it because you're schizophrenic or you're mentally retarded or you're incapacitated, so you don't know what really happened. You might have seen it, but you didn't comprehend it the right way, and being told that I don't have an ability to make any type of statement. With that being said, I do want to attack Columbus, Ohio. I just got back from New York City, and when I mean attack, I mean intelligibly, exposurely, that I've been warned of certain amount of places around the community. These guys are making complaint against you. They don't want you around. I'm walking to the store. They yell out. I yell back. Hey, you've done worse than that. You've lively threatened. Hey, they've covered their tracks when they've lively threatened me, talking about gangbanging, talking about power, talking about intelligently attacking, systematically attacking. They covered their tracks. They have their own people. They got groups of their people partying and all kinds of shit. It's one of the locations. It's right around some bars, but it's not exactly the bars. They attend those bars, and that's another thing. A social event, and these bars are big. They're huge, huge. When you get looking at it, it's huge ass bars. One's a club, one's a kind of a bar social deal, and the other one is I would say light bar, and then there's another bar that's kind of cityly, business, half community. You got 4 bars on basically one block of street, and them attending those bars socially, when you're walking through that area, they like trying to play. It's almost like being targeted, sniped at, and them trying to create confusion. Anyways, with this other place that I was just warned about, you threatened to burn their place up, all this, all that. I may have said things off the wall, may have. They threatened that they know what I've done wrong. They know about an accidental house fire, ridiculing me. Why are you in my business? I'm not in your business. We was told to do so. Who told you? I have had, you can't defeat the system, and I have had, in like Colorado, internal investigations of police, operation, and work. It wouldn't matter. The government can be in the wrong and be prosecuted. Even if I did something wrong, if they don't conduct their business right, they don't have the rights to represent the case. That's corruption. That is contamination of the case. That's contamination uh, of criminalizing injustice. It's supposed to be pure, and it's unpurified. Nah, I'll mark your words for what you do. Well, I'm going to have to get a lawyer, try to talk, because I'm severely incapacitated to a certain extent, and they don't physically know what's wrong with me. I also have physical health problems. No, we've made the decision it's not physical, you're all mental. While I'm suffering physically, creating that mental block causing me not to be able to capacitate due to the internal pains. Throat pains, blocking, and all the rest, and then it being blamed off. No, it's not. That's schizophrenic. You'll obey our people or we'll control you. We'll ruin you. You are our dog, you're a bitch, you're nothing but. That's all you are. We're dealing with Russian descents. We're dealing with Mexican descents. They're utilizing a social form for each classification of race for people and attacking back. Our race has a right to utilize you to protect our race from any harm. Psychological harm, social harm, having to deal with you. You've created a case. You've created a community situation to where everybody has to deal with it, or the situation was created because of the way that you are, and everybody has to deal with it, and we don't have to deal with it in the ways that you think so. We will fight back. That is removal of the community, this, that, systematic assault. But dealing with you, period, intentionally snobbing it, that we're getting our people value from that. We're getting race respect from the United States. We're getting race respect from you being schizophrenic. And I'm not schizophrenic. I wasn't diagnosed that way. That's another thing that's been implanted, seeded, threatened, taunted. If I don't accept, that's the end of it. But anyways, that these guys are utilizing it almost like an international, if not international, kind of like, it's not spy, but like a sort of kind of treason. To where it's respect for their kind of people, dignity and pride, so they get that respect, that extra value, that power. Utilizing me because of supposed mental health instability. Like a paycheck. Like a value. Like the psychiatrists and the county workers said, they're not getting cash value. This isn't statement for 100%. They're probably making money off of it too. But the point is it's not cash value. It is held technically the same as social value. Somebody does something for respect. It's the same thing as somebody doing something for money. You also have blacks involved. You have Mexicans, Orientals, like I said. It's a whole race and somebody sabotaging with that. Loopholes in the system. Maybe I'm not making it clear or sounding right. Some of this stuff is also taken from the effects way back in 2000 when I was staying in an apartment with a family member. The place was kind of tapped. They kept thumping on walls. They kept doing shit downstairs. The same characteristics from those group of people dealing with that live right across the street from me, right where I live right now, literally. And around the neighborhood, the same people that live right across the street have 1,000,000,000% been identified being in like New York City with me and giving me a problem. But the point is they're in here utilizing shit even 20 years ago, profiling, stalking, and targeting. Dang, I hate when I cough because I forget what I'm talking about. But to go back into things that was said 20 years ago and trying to hold it against me. Or we will build whatever you think we're going to intellectually abuse or intellectually challenge you to. We're better than you. You don't think. You don't have a right to. There is things that I was involved with 20 years ago to a point, and some of it was jokingly, some of it wasn't. Doesn't matter. They turned jokes into reality. And with proof, just like in Colorado Springs, they tried to play some shenanigans where they wrapped me up socially, communitally, with profiling, and law enforcement got involved and said by their tactics, techniques, these guys are not allowed to be doing what they're doing. There's the evidential base and the way we as law enforcement base the evidence. There's almost not even a start point to ridicule you, persecute, or say you're doing socially wrong, maybe even gangbanging class, gangbanging, or anything else, because there's no leads to lead with. As one of the ways, any type of sabotaging they're doing. Hey, he snitched on us, he narked on us, Skate City, 1995, we're going to make it out being the hardest shit in the world. And there's a situation all the way even back in 1995, Skate City, Colorado Springs, Colorado, and they repeat it to this day. A snitch, a rat, this, that, those, the others, utilizing the harshest form that they can, intentionally, fraudulently is the way I say it, because they wasn't that hard of people, as in point of view, and somebody's also made the remarks, they intentionally allowed these guys to make it into a situation that wasn't supposed to be. Including what I keep saying is sabotage from internal government and intelligence. But with that being said, going back over top of all of this shit, this is the reason why we're doing it. Good, then don't interstate stalk me. I'm getting away from you. I moved to another state. You followed me. Utilizing and trying to take advantage. Incapacitating me, causing me captivity. And it was explained in Arizona, there is a such form without being physically held captive of still being communally held captive. Under threat, duress, and everything else, which can turn in or is life-threatening. Anyways, with that being said, there's other things they ridicule, just outright value. You're mentally retarded, we caused you that way. On top, your older brother's the one, he's the king, he's this, he's the shit. You ain't nothing, you need to look away. Intentionally interfering with socialism, with relationships with the effects of disgracing me in front of women, disgracing me in front of anything. But on top of that, girlfriend situation, you wouldn't even know how to handle that stuff right now. Stuff like that. I've been obliterated and ruined. And it was talked. I always refer back psychological help there, like they said to go get. It's been assaulted to the point. It's no different than physically life threatening situation, except for it is a social life threatening situation, and it does exist, and it is to a certain extent the same amount of criminalization as to socially ruin somebody as it is to socially threaten life. Because it is life threatening, because you're ruining them to the point they can't live. They may be physically breathing, and this was explained by a psychiatrist. Physically breathing, your blood may be flowing and probably not right with complications under the duress, but you're alive physically, but technically socially and maybe even mentally completely dead. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to gain respect. There's nothing to gain character, respect of character. There's no way to live life because your personal self has been ruined, completely obliterated, to where people and the community and just life itself has no ability to live because somebody ruined that. Now that's life threatening, and that's what these guys have done. But there are physical takes to that, which I'd like to prove, but they're trying to say you're criminally in trouble, and we're covering up our tracks with, hey, you got yourself in trouble. We can now do whatever we want to. Even if you prove or whatnot, or try to prove, nobody's going to believe you because it'll stop them dead in their tracks that you're a criminal and this is what you deserve. There's no use in looking any farther of exactly how things happened. Columbus, Ohio has done its warnings. Hey, you don't know how the system works. You got cops involved, multitudes of different states. Just like when I went to New York City, somebody making me a prime, I'll say prime target without it being corrupted per se, targeting, but making me the target, a suspect or whatnot. They've done this, 13 years? How long does a suspect remain suspect? Shouldn't there be due process? And that's what I'm saying. I shouldn't have to question myself to say, hey, I'm intelligent enough to stand against it and stand up to them, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I went incompetent, incapacitated due to their assaults of violence, due to their intimidations and everything else. Them utilizing mafioso, them utilizing criminal organizational, and then, hey, you thought of it, that's on you. Why we prosper, you can suffer. We just want you to die. Well, it's time to go after the Russians. It's time to go after the Italians. It's time to go after the Mexicans for sure. And some of this stuff has came down to we're real spies. We're spying and utilizing you to socially spy on the United States. The Mexicans from Mexico, that's a direct, not just Spanish. It is Mexican intelligence. I was explaining things even more over 25 years ago, and it still continued until a certain point somebody sabotaging, hey, you snitched us out, well, hey, intelligent community, you'll get thrown in the trash. That's what you got. That's what you deserve. You don't snitch out on hardcore stuff. You don't go tell, but you need to go tell somebody. We're going to assault you and obliterate you. You can't tell, but you have to go tell. Anyways, with that being said, of explanation of it's not complete, there probably is, but the way I was explained what their spying is social works of the United States. The integrity of the social works of the United States. Not top secret spy files. I'm not going to say that's not a part of the situation, but their spying and their enforcement is dealing with social works of the United States. It may be complicated for some to understand. For me, it was 100% understood. I've been in D.C. I talked to a few people just for advice, or maybe, I won't say common communications, but to maybe get a touch basis. And yes, it can be considered basically like espionage, treason for their actions, especially if they're influencing or controlling something that they shouldn't be, or they're trying to influence that controlment to benefit for Mexico and benefit for themselves. So there goes that. You have this Afghan Al Qaeda, ISIS thing being called around me all the time. I've had DVRs when I had the proof of that. I've had DVRs burn themselves out, SD cards, all the rest. Hey, buddy, you ain't gonna say shit to nobody. Here goes the intimidation from a lot of that shit, is having evidence erased. I'm only by myself, nobody else, for the most part. I just came back from New York City. I'm missing videos and photos again. Important ones is the way I say it. But no matter what, all of them's important. They're my photos. I was in D.C. That happened. I've been here in Columbus, Ohio, and that's happened. They're trying to utilize Sheriff's Department. They gave us the rights to do this. We have the rights without proving that we have an electronic warrant to do whatever we want, maybe even cut you off from the utilization of electronic devices. It's starting to get no paperwork, but they're doing whatever they want to. Next thing you know, just like I've had done before, there's no paperwork, so if you find out that they're doing it, they can get criminally charged themselves, but the damage is already done. So I'm being made believe forcefully because, hey, they are powerful. We tell you what to do. You believe what we tell you. That we have a right to do this to you. And the public and the people have a right. Well, I'm willing to understand it when I'm capacitated, because there are things I fully understand. That I understand the point of view and it is okay to do, but I have an exception because there's evidence to that says it would overturn your supposed decision that it is okay. That's what's writ by law, because there isn't full-blown evidence behind the situation. They are intentionally trying to sabotage and have, not even trying, and gloat about it. You're ruined. You're brain dead. We caused you mental assault to the point you're brain dead. Anyways, Columbus, Ohio. Quit calling me out also. Quit non-investigating the shit I told you to investigate. I call the gang crime unit. You tell me I'm just some wussy fuck to deal with it. 1 minute, I've called 3 times over a decade's type of time. And back then, it wasn't even but about 4 years in spaces. And I was told there was actually different voices for the same unit, the same, what do you call it, leader, the, not chief, but per se the director of that division, the head. 3 different people answering the phone representing themselves as the head. I looked into it, I even called in, I said, is there only one head of your unit? Yes, alrighty. But I've been told 3 different ways by 3 different people, 3 different things. And one of them was real harsh scrutiny. Real harsh, babyfied, unstable, nothing's happening to you. That's normal social works. Maybe you need more evidence and proof of what's going on. Even if you do get evidence and proof, some of the stuff that they're doing, we can't do nothing about it. Ain't really, even though they're gang members, that's a civil suit, and you have to take care of that yourself. You take them to civil court. Right. You have somebody threatening you, harassing you. You take them to court, what's going to happen? They're going to come back after you. No matter what, still unpeaceful. Even if they get caught doing it. But then you got to remember my story. Mass orchestrated, organized shit. Not 5, not 10, not 30. We're talking about connections international. I'm going to go ahead and end the video at that and make another one later on, maybe clearing this one up. But I did want to get that out, and the point of the video is semi-international, but what's going on in the community itself of sabotage, race sabotage on top. It seems racist, but it isn't just that. Literally nationality racism. Doesn't matter of the skin color. It's literally going for people of specific areas. Mexico. Not just Spanish, but Mexican pride. Black Nigerian pride. Russian Moscow pride. Ukraine pride. Now, some of these places claim, like Russia, Ukraine and Russia, they're Russians. But no, this is more tedious to a point. Our people are utilizing you to gain something out of you for our people. I'm done. Ending the video there, I guess. Wasn't a whole lot. But anyhow, targetofunlawfulacts.com. Hopefully I can start and get these neuro doctors to figure out what's wrong with me, besides exposing implants, like a neuromodulator. What has caused me to be incapacitated, on top of giving me the approval that I have some physical problem that's caused mental blocking or comprehension lessening at the least. But be able to put up some more clear, better videos that's understood, because mine's such obliterated, it's completely undillable with to certain extents. Now, the psychological facility that I was here, and they thought, hey, haha, we suckered his ass, we screwed him off, he's under some type of regulation. They did not sign many paperwork, if anything at all, any sanctions, any medications that I had to take. And I had a situation with that. I'm going to jump off real quick and talk about this. I had an officer assault me, and it was been told an assault. And they love walking around, hey, you on meds? You better be taking your meds. I'm checking you out. If you ain't taking your meds, I'm taking you in. It was clarified in their computer system, and they tried to overdo that by working their own, that I'm not required to take meds. While others are trying to threaten. That's the way power of the people work. We as a community are telling him he has to take meds. But then again, giggling at it, even though you've been raped in the community, we don't give a shit about you. Whatever ruins you. Whatever power control freak show we can get. Value, feeling, social life, whatever jives and makes us go. Anyways, with that being said, police rapings. Yeah, I just mentioned it. I'm going to go ahead and jump off that. But misconduct by law enforcement, again, another state, another place, doesn't matter. On top of somebody making it out that somebody higher up, and I don't mean within local police, somebody governmentally intelligent higher up told them to do what they're doing. But, what was I going to say that got me into that situation, into that story? I'm trying to finish this video off, but I'm trying to figure out to group it together so it's not so spotty. But mental health system, that's what it was. When I was talking to the county psychiatrist, they was willing to go to the police with me. Maybe I messed up, maybe I didn't. I didn't have good enough lawyers, nor the money to spend for a lawyer. I mean, absolutely no money. I didn't have an income. And that's another vulnerability. You can't pay. It'll take a professional, and you don't have enough money to get the professional done to take on the system's professional authoritative situation. So you're fucked. It'll crush you. It's sabotage. It's ruining you, and we don't care. But anyways, the system said they wanted to go to the police with me and have discussions with the police of what's going wrong, but they also understood I already had sexual assaults from police officers, if not worse than that. Other mishaps with the police. They even agreed with unruliness of police officers writing like pink slips or threatening. Shit like that. And we never went to the police because I wanted to go elsewhere. Internally, Columbus police corruption. What I say is Johnson Jr., Johnson Jr. the first or third. What that means is Johnson had a job back in the 70s. He grew through the police department, a job at the police department. He grew, he had a kid. His kid became a cop too, law enforcement. And that his kid became law enforcement after him. You have deep roots inside the law enforcement agencies here in Columbus that have ties-ins and profiles for their own family, my family, or particularly myself. One has a grudge. The others are not going to turn against it. They're all going to grudge against it too. But with that being said, maybe I didn't explain that just greatly, but I've been trying that example of Johnson Jr., and Johnson Jr. the third or first, whatever which way that works. It means it has a long family path besides just connections. Anyways, that's the reason why things didn't get represented. Going to law enforcement would have been one thing, but it's been sabotaged everywhere I went, on top of me being sabotaged and me understanding it's hard for me to be dealt with. Even though the psychiatric place, the county workers, the good doctors there, supposedly, because everything wasn't okay. There was things that was done wrong. And even some of the things they couldn't help. Some of the things it's just too torn up to be dealt with. But, damn, I went to think and spaced out. Almost coughed. Damn cold. But yeah, sabotage. It's just too. Everything's just messed up. Even the psychiatrists are saying something's different, something's not right. Oh, law enforcement should be able to represent and help you out, even though you're incapacitated. They should be able to. It's their job to piece the situation together. That's what I was gonna say. It was affirmed if they're not doing that, then they've misconducted their work. But who cares? They understand some of their misconduction. There's a statute of limitations. When I reported to them what's happened in the past, statute of limitations wore off. It's no different than what they're trying to play me like a criminal, and oh, you trying to play statute of limitations, we'll get you on that too. And I don't want to get too much into that, but not right now. I've talked to doctors about it, but it being private and things being kept private, that's another thing. Exposure of my private records, and what you gonna do about it? More sabotage. Who you gonna catch up? Even if we get caught up, I go serve 6 months, and your life for life is ruined. On top, domination of power. We own your ass. Matter of fact, don't want to own your ass. Just basically kill you. I'm done. My life has been ruined. I ain't had a life. The psychiatrists and the doctors have said the same thing. Someone ruined his life to the point, literally, he ain't had a life. And it ain't just a couple of years. It's life. Even since I was in my 20s, now I'm 37, and still. And the rehabilitation, even if everything got better, one, I've lost that much life. There's things that would help out in the, the future of living that needs to have some type of beginning to it. And they screwed up the beginning of that, so I couldn't live life. It was understood by the psychiatrists as such. But corrupted system, them also not wanting to get involved, too much power being involved, and somebody trying to create a situation of anybody and everybody can be harmed by him, as far as if you try to help him out, will harm you. And some of the harm is just, hey, we'll take you on systematically. We'll dig into your past, whatever we can do. So it's kind of legally legit, but at the same time, like extortion, I guess, blackmail. And I was told just like that none of that shit exists. You have FBI that I've talked to. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I've talked to psychiatrists. Yes, technically those terms are not correct. Piece it together and see what he's saying, because the understandings of blackmail when it gets into TV show stuff that didn't explain it right, no matter the comprehension of what he's saying, there has to be something there. That's illegal. That is very severe. The technical term may not be blackmail, because that's more corporate business shit, but social life blackmail. He doesn't own a business. That's the value of livelihood being messed up. So law enforcement is completely misconducted. And it's also traveling. So there is someone within the government internally connected, even since I was a child, doing this. Our soldiers, our children, we protect our men, women, and children, while we assault, abuse, psychologically, consume, utilize the child and now the adult to the point that they're obliterated. Ruin doesn't matter. Cover up. We're covering our tracks, and nobody can do nothing about it. We are. You're not. Bad message. Anyways, I'm off here. Peace. Targetofunlawfulacts.com, I guess. Bye. Columbus, Ohio. December 30th, 2019, 6:11 p.m. Walnut Street, Gift Street. Bottom.